Hello, everyone. Welcome to Relationship Communication Tools. I am recording this video, so yeah, if you're not catching it live, feel free to make sure that you catch it at a later time. And if you are watching it later, feel free to reach out with me to me if you've got any questions. For anybody that is live with me, just hold off on your questions until the end, and I'll make sure that I'm able to get to all of the questions at the end, or at least the most as possible within the time frame that we've got here today. Yeah. So yeah, once we get to the question period, I'll just mention that to you guys, and then you can start popping them into the chat, and I'll go through them as they come up in there. All right. So there we go. My name is Jonathan McLean. I am working with human design, and specifically my field of my field that I love to be in is relationships, and I love to be able to help people connect and have the best potential outcome from whatever that connection is, whether it is partner with partner, if it is mother with child, if it's father with child, if it's employer with employee, whatever the connection is it's good with me. I love dealing with relationships, and of course with families as well. So if a family wants to know how to communicate better and wants to be able to operate in a more aligned way, I love being there. Hey, can you guys hear me okay? So with these relationship communication tools, these are things that I have learned mostly through trial and error, a lot of error on my part, and a lot of people that are out there in the different connections that I've got have been able to share their tools and their learnings with me, and it's helped me in my current relationship, and could have helped and potentially saved me and previous relationships, including a marriage that I was fully participating in the destruction of that. So I'm not claiming to be perfect, not claiming to be anything but human. So I'll have a lot of examples in my in this time together where I'll show you examples of how I've messed up these tools. So hopefully you'll be able to learn something. And at the very end, I have the most important relationship communication tool. So hold on until then. I'm just going to make myself a quick note here. All right, so the first tool in any communication is knowing yourself. Be that through your human design, be that through your love language, be that through knowing how your inner family works. So what triggers your inner teen? What makes your inner child feel scared? If you're not familiar with the inner family work, there is an organization out there called ACA. They have fantastic tools with how to the subline for ACA is or one of the lines is learn to be your own loving parent. And I've worked with ACA for a bit, and yeah, it's helped me immensely, being able to connect into myself and see, okay, well, this is bugging me right now. Okay, why is it bugging me? Who is hurt? Is my inner critical, is my inner critic acting up, and is my inner critic just regurgitating things that were told to me when I was a young child? You know, maybe a parent or something, or maybe a teacher said something that I just internalized and am continuing to move forward within my life. So yeah, self-knowledge, knowing who you are, knowing who I am. And yeah, with human design as well, knowing what my defined centers are, what my authority is, knowing what my what my energy type is, and knowing all of those different ways of operating within myself. So that's the first tool. The second tool is knowing your partner. So remember, the first step is knowing oneself. You got to know yourself before you can do anything else. Before you can have any kind of good communication, you have to start with yourself. You have to know what's going on inside of you before you can really properly express what's going on inside of you to the other person that you're connected with or connecting with in that moment. So the second step is about connecting with or knowing the other person's design, or knowing their way of operating in the world. Maybe knowing what might be their triggers might be, and knowing then also what to avoid. In a respectful communication, especially in relationships, because you can get so deep into the triggers that is really easy to abuse your partner's faults, right? Or your partner's triggers. And then, also in the first tool, I forgot to mention knowing how to soothe yourself. So if you get upset, if your inner teen is just like roaring and ready to go and ready to fight, knowing what steps to take. Maybe saying to your partner, hey, I love you. I respect you. I want to be connected with you right now. I've got crazy emotions going on, so I'm just going to take some time in the other room here. I'm going to sit. I'm going to, meditate or do whatever, jumping jacks, and be able to take that time to soothe oneself. Check in with your inner critic. Say, hey, inner critic, what voice is this that is trying to, tell me to do something? Inner teen, what's going on? How are you feeling? Why are you why are you upset? Why are you angry? Why do you want to fight? And then really listening to your own inner family. So knowing how to soothe yourself is a very, very big tool in communication. And then, around knowing your partner, know their love language, speak their love language. For myself, my love languages, my two primary ones are are the words of affirmation and acts of service. And I know that when I am just going on autopilot, those are the two things that I default to, because, well, if I love those, if I like those, everyone else must as well. So I do my best to not be an autopilot and remember, okay, my partner, she loves physical touch, so I do my absolute best to not operate on autopilot and say, all right, tell myself, okay, we're in the kitchen doing things. Cool, right? Maybe my partner would like just a little touch on the arm, a little hug from behind, a little kiss on the cheek, anything like that, or any of the other love language as well. So it doesn't really matter. Just learn what your partner's love language is, and be able to speak that to them, to show them that you care, to show them that you are invested and that you're not just thinking about yourself in this relationship. Because the more that you can respect yourself, and then know your partner, the more that shows them that you are interested, you're invested, you want to make this all work. And the more you do that, the more that they are able to turn around and kind of realize, well, hey, wait a moment, this guy is really, saying and doing what I love. Maybe it's time, to reciprocate, or whatever that looks like for you guys' relationship. I'm specifically going to be talking about relationships because that's where the most amount of triggers can happen. That's where the most amount of growth can happen as well. And that, is absolutely lovely in my mind. So now that we know ourselves, we know our partner, that's when we get into knowing the relationship. Because, well, 1 + 2 or 1 + 1 = 2, right? A to B is C, right? There's always going to be that third entity that is not going to be possible to have on your own. And your partner is not going to be able to have that either on their own. So that third entity is kind of like your love child, not a physical child, but just that love child, that third entity that is created through your connection. And that connection can show up in multiple different ways. The specific one that I focus on is based on human design and how your charts work together. So knowing the electromagnetic channels, knowing the dominance channels. And if you're not familiar with these terms, feel free to put them into the questions later on, or just reach out to me personally after the class here, and we'll be able to expand a little bit on all of that as well on a later date. So in the relationship, knowing the electromagnetic channels, knowing the dominance channels, knowing the compromise channels, and then also knowing the friendship gates. All of those can come in very handy because, for example, myself, I do not have my human design root defined. My partner does. But I have gate 58. She has gate 18. Pretty sure though that's what makes up the channel of judgment. So together, we create that channel of judgment. We constantly want to have things be perfected. On our own, not so much. We on our own, we don't have that channel. So I try to be as cognizant as possible. All right, this is going to be possible when we connect. This is going to show up when, like the channel of judgment. We've also got the channel of mutation. So we've got that desire, to mutate and grow and expand and have those kind of blast experiences where we have these, exponential moments of growth. Then, and then after that, we'll have a moment of just, okay, relaxing and calm. And I see that actually quite a bit in her and my relationship. Yeah, the channel of judgment is a huge one. I'm not sure if that was Meg or anyway. So moving on. Knowing what the electromagnetic channels are, knowing what you create together, and if you are both non-emotionals in human design, and then you activate that solar plexus in your combined chart, knowing that you'll have an emotional wave to go through. Knowing that there'll be that up and down, and that will just be common for your relationship. Not good, not bad, it just is. And the best thing that you can do is accept it and know that it's there and keep moving on. The second thing for the relationship tools is about bringing everything to the light. So if you have even just a small thing going on within yourself, tell your partner, let them know. But don't just like let them know right off the bat, without letting them know that you're making this change. That's not a good idea. Just be like, hey, by the way, I learned in this class, from this guy called Jonathan, that, it might be a good idea to talk about, everything that comes up. And I love you, I care about you, and I want this relationship to be the best that it can be. And so I'm just going to be bringing things up a little bit more, just to bring things out of the darkness, bring them to the light, so that we can both see, okay, this is a thing that's going on. And that little shift, it's not going to be everything right off the bat. It's going to just make those little changes to make your relationship better and better and better. Yes, there will be rocky points. Yes, you will probably screw up. Yes, your partner will probably get upset with you. But that's one way to be able to grow your relationship, your coupleship, make it the best that it can be. The next tool is, how bringing everything to the light. So we bring everything to the light, and for myself and my partner, it actually makes really good sense for us to have everything written, well, not everything, have the bigger things written down in words on a document that we both signed, just kind of contracts. I've heard of some couples having dating contracts, twice a month, they'll alternate inviting the other person on a date. And when the other person asks, you have to say yes. And that works well for them. My partner and I don't have that kind of a contract in place, but it is something that we've considered, something that is potentially on our horizon down the road. But for now, we have actually a fighting contract. And in our fighting contract, it states very clearly what we cannot do. So no interrupting, then also no bringing, potential conflict things up after 8 p.m. That one is a little bit in the gray zone, and we've actually had some fights because I didn't think that it was, I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think it was going to be a potential fight. But then, it ended up being, and so I'm like, crap, I went against that fighting contract. But so live and learn, get to know each other, get to really dig into where the relationship is and where it can be. So fighting contract, another thing that we've got on there is very specific things that my partner does, or one specific thing that my partner does that I don't like, and one specific thing that I do that my partner doesn't like. And we've agreed to put those things onto our fighting contract and say, okay, we realize that we do these things. We realize that it pisses the other person off. Out of respect in the relationship, we're going to keep them at bay. We're going to do our absolute best to not bring that up. And that has worked out pretty well. I think both of us are doing actually, very, very well in specifically that term. And then of course, if any of the contract is broken, just saying, hey, by the way, this goes against our fighting contract. I'm just going to suggest taking some time apart taking a minute to be able to to go into my own, my own space and be able to just calm myself, come back to the conversation once I'm calm. And that brings me into the fourth the fourth part, which is I statements. Part of our fighting contract is only, I don't actually, is it in our fighting contract? Yeah, it might be, but we do our absolute best to stay in I statements. I am feeling this way. I am, when this happened, I felt this way, and really avoiding the language of you or we. So when you did this, you made me feel like this. When you left the toilet seat up, you pissed me off. I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and it really sucked because I touched the gross toilet bowl. We avoid that kind of language. So instead it would be, hey, I went to the bathroom last night and I noticed that the toilet seat was up, or I noticed that the toilet seat was up after I sat down on the cold porcelain, and that really sucked. I felt hurt. I felt I felt shocked. It didn't feel good. And so taking that focus from the other person and putting it onto oneself, not blaming or anything like that, which I can definitely get better at. That is something that I'm very much growing with still, is not blaming my partner. Because it's so easy to just be like, well, I've got an issue, the other person is involved, you're the problem. Oh no, Meg, that sucks. Danielle, it is very hard to not blame. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, we're all human. We're all going to screw up, especially me. I'm human. I'm going to screw up, probably many thousands of times in the future. But I know that I'm going to do my best to stay in that I language, and going to keep doing my best so that my partner will learn to trust that that is the truth, that I will absolutely do my best on that one. So we've got the I statements. Then there is, well, I commented on this a little bit. There was the feelings. And this is where it gets into kind of gray zone, because some feelings are actually judgments. It can sound like you're stating a feeling, but it's actually a judgment. And with that judgment probably is coming some blame. So, for example, so the toilet bowl example. Oh, here's an example. Okay, so the judgment would be, I feel. So side note, that sounds like it's going to be a feeling, right? Because I said the I feel. So this is a judgment statement. I feel like you don't care about me. I feel like you leaving the toilet seat up is more convenient for you, so that's why you do that. That is a judgment and blame, very, very sneakily disguised as a feeling. So the best way that I can remember this, still learning this, still working on this, still not perfect on this, still human, is as soon as my feelings include another person, that's a judgment. I felt left out. Okay, somebody else had to leave you out. I feel mistreated. That's a judgment because somebody else had to mistreat you, right? So what my partner and I tried to do is we start with it just in our heads. We kind of go, okay, well, this is the judgment that's coming up. And it's easy. It's going to be so easy to just find the judgment, find the blame, but then taking that moment and going, okay, so this is, I feel mistreated. Okay, so that's a judgment. What's underneath it? So I feel, okay, so because I felt mistreated, I felt hurt, I felt angry, I felt upset, and really getting into the true feelings that are going on for oneself. So I'm just going to revisit that question here for you at the end here, if that's okay. But if you can remind me at the end, that would be amazing. I will do my best to remember that I've got a question hanging out here. Okay. So yeah, that's that. So we're at this point where we're kind of in university level kind of level of thickness in terms of feelings and getting into the depths of what's going on the inside for us, what's going on the inside for our partners, and yeah, all of that it's quite heavy at this point in time. So if you don't get it right away, I understand. I am with you. I've probably stumbled over this feelings versus judgment thing for probably like a year or more, and I'm still working on it. And so I'm getting there. I'm getting better, little bit by little bit. The last half of this class, I'm going to be focusing on the deep listening process. So Harville Hendricks created this process. So Jillian and I, my partner and I, we took that process, we have adopted that process, and it's worked wonders for us. Plus, we have found that there are 2 extra steps that really help us as well. So I'm going to share those as well for you guys. So it's a 5-step process. And then at the very end, I'll share that one best tool that anybody can use. And that in itself will probably be able to work wonders. So partner A, partner B. So let's use that toilet seat example. Partner A says to partner B, look, partner B, when I went to the washroom last night, I sat down and I fell into the toilet. And my hands touched the gross ring and just the whole thing. And of course, there's going to be emotion with this kind of situation. You know, that obviously the more of a volatile situation, the more emotion is going to be. Oh, and before this process begins, it is very important to say, partner B, do you have time to do the deep listening process at this point in time? Can we do it right now? If not right now, can we schedule a time to go through this? And I would recommend to schedule an hour for the first, probably for the first dozen or 20 of these processes. And the more emotionally charged, and especially if both people are emotionally charged, plan on it being like a 2-hour long thing, especially if the partner B is going to want to respond in any kind of way. So once the time is properly set, once the both parties are totally settled, totally focused, totally there and present and able to do this process, that's when my partner and I, we like to start out this process with a prayer, just the we version of the Serenity Prayer. If you want, you can look that up online. And that in itself brings the emotion, just settles it. It doesn't have to totally settle it, but it brings us into that moment of realizing, okay, we're in this together. We both want the best for our relationship. And yes, we're hurting right now. And this process is going to, get us onto the right track again. So partner A, so back to the beginning of the deep listening process. So the 5 steps. First, partner A shares with partner B and says, this is the situation. Last night, I got up in the middle of the night. I didn't turn the light on, sat down, and grossness. And that really hurt. And yes, I know this is a judgment, but it seems like you don't care about me, and whatever words need to come out. Yes, we tried to just use I statements, but just realizing that we're both partners are human and we're going to screw up. So it really hurt. It was gross. I didn't like it. And as a result, I want to, I want something to change. So partner A says that to partner B. So part of this first step is to have partner B then reflect that back to partner A. So partner B goes, all right, so what I heard you say is last night you got up in the middle of the night, you went to the washroom and the toilet seat went up. This toilet seat was up and you sat down and it was gross, and yeah, all of the things that happened with sitting down on a toilet without a toilet seat down. And then partner B says, is that correct? Did I hear you correctly? And this is a very important part of the process of stopping partner B to stop and say, was that correct? And not assuming that the partner B is correct or not, just to say, did I hear that right? And that partner A can say yes or no. And if yes, perfect, move on to the next step. If partner A feels like they were not properly reflected, if partner B misheard something or something, go back to the beginning. Go back to the start of step 1. Partner A shares maybe in a little bit of a different way. Maybe there's a word that needs to get changed out that partner B can hear better and more effectively. So that's, going way back to the beginning of this class, I shared like knowing yourself and knowing your partner. So part of that knowing your partner is knowing what words they like to use, what words they really get, and then being able to use that in this deep listening process. So maybe partner A changes the words and redoes step 1. Once partner B has properly reflected that back to partner A, perfect. Moving on to step number 2. Step number 2 is where partner B then says, okay, well, what you said, partner A, what you said, partner A, makes sense, because yeah, we had talked about this before. Yes, we had agreed that, the toilet seat would be left down, and that maybe like a night light was supposed to be left on as well. And yeah, and none of those things were taken care of. None of those things were were in place. So it makes sense that would upset you, that you would be feeling, that you'd be sorry, not into feeling yet, but that you would be upset about this, and that you would that of course you would fall into the toilet because you weren't able to see and the toilet seat wasn't down. Does that make sense? Like, am I speaking the right language here for you? And then partner A can say, yeah, that makes, thank you for making sense of all of that. Let's move on to the third step. And of course, if the second step wasn't done to partner A's satisfaction, you can always go back. You can always revisit that whole part, that whole section, and being able to say, look, like just having partner B make sense of the whole situation in slightly of a different way. Like I said, for the first step, for this step, maybe partner B has to change up some language, change up some words, or say something a little bit differently so that partner A feels like partner B made proper sense of what the situation was. Third step is to go on to the empathizing. And so partner B says to partner A, well, I'd imagine that would make you feel hurt, maybe, grossed out. And you know what? I know this isn't a feeling. I know this is a judgment, but I know, like, in that moment, did you feel, was the judgment maybe like that I didn't care about you? Was the judgment maybe that like I didn't honor our agreements? And then underneath that is, the feelings would be hurt and anger and whatever other, feelings might be there around that specific situation. Yeah, so just going to have a quick pause here. Is all of that making sense? If you guys can just comment that in the group chat, just yes, or just give the thumbs up. Awesome, great to see that, Danielle. And if not, if you need me to revisit anything, just let me know. I'll be able to go back over this process. But yeah, so looks like we're good. Moving on to the step that my partner and I have added on. And that is, so the fourth step is partner B would say to partner A, so I would imagine that you would need this, would have needed this or would need this. So in this example that we've been working with, I'd imagine that you would need me to leave the toilet seat down when I'm going, when I'm going to the bathroom, or whatever the agreement is. I would, I would imagine that you'd need me to honor our agreements, and that you would need me to operate in a way that it would be, trustworthy, that you can go into the toilet, into the bathroom at night, sit down without having to worry. And then partner A can confirm that, or say, well, do you know what? I also need this. And then be able to kind of revisit that fourth step of the needs. So let's see. about all the the laundry. Let's cover that. Let's cover that at the end for the Q&A. Okay. So 2 questions in the Q&A. I will do my best to remember that. So once partner A is satisfied with partner B's statements of what partner A might need, then it's possible to go on to step number 5. And number 5 is, what does partner A want out of the situation? And so at that point in time, partner A would say, look, partner B, in light of the events that we're talking about, I would want an apology, or I would like, some kind of way of being able to prevent this from happening again. I would maybe like us to revisit our different contracts that we've got going on, just to reassure me that everything is as clear as it can be in our relationship or our coupleship. And then partner B can either agree or disagree and say, look, yeah, that looks like it's totally fair. And if they're up for an apology, yeah, apologize at that point in time, and then let partner A know what they think might be possible from their own end going forward. So yes, yeah, apology, sorry, I left the toilet seat up, it was wrong, I know that went against our contract, and I will do my absolute best to do that going forward. I can't promise you that I won't ever do it again, but I will do my absolute best. And yeah, maybe going through our contracts again within the next week. Would that be good? How does that sound? And at this point in time, it really can get into more of a conversation and more into coming together of partner A being deep listened by partner B, and then that connection of what to do moving forward is possible from there on out. Of course, if there is a situation where there are heightened emotions on both ends, for myself and my partner, we had a situation a couple weeks ago where she felt like I had wronged her, which I did, and I felt like she had wronged me. And that meant that both of us felt hurt, both of us were angry, and both of us wanted to be deep listened. It's possible to go through all of these 5 steps, and then at the end, take a moment and breathe and relax, and then have the whole thing done again with partner B, starting out with the sharing, and partner A deep listening, and going through that whole process from partner B's perspective. Is that possible always? No. There are many times where either I've been partner A and I've not been, capable of deep listening the other person because my emotions were so upset, and then vice versa as well. And that's totally fine. Setting up a time to be able to do this process again, just the other way around, is always a good idea. So the very final thing that we do after we complete whatever amount of deep listening, be it 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, we end with a prayer. We specifically like the unity prayer, which is, I'm sure it can be found on the internet, or just saying any kind of prayer that you guys might, be particularly fond of, or having a little meditation, some eye gazing, like a long, relaxed hug, whatever you guys need to do to be able to get back in sync and calm down to the best of the ability at that point in time. Is it going to be perfectly calmed down? Probably not. But at least getting to that point of moving the train in the right direction. And as I said at the beginning, the most important tool that anybody can ever use in any kind of situation, specifically when the emotions are heightened, is the first response to be your breath. So let's say partner A says something that comes across aggressive or mean or hurtful or something that I don't initially, like, I don't just, unconsciously retaliate or respond, but to take that moment and go, okay, this is what I heard you say. Is that what you meant? And getting that clarification and being able to move forward after that pause. That pause itself with that breath is probably going to do very, 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 very big things for you and your relationship. And again, maybe just mentioning that to your partner. Hey, I learned this thing today. I'm not going to be able to do this perfectly, but this is what I'm going to do my best at. When I'm triggered, when I'm upset, when I hear you say something that I think is not nice, I'm just going to do my best to stop and breathe and pause. And out of respect for you, the coupleship, and myself. And really, like I said earlier, bringing all of that to the light, letting your partner know what your process is, how you're moving forward, and why you're moving forward in the way that you're moving forward. Because it can be weird. It can be really weird to kind of say, have me be partner A and say something totally neutral, and then have the response be from partner B, and I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you like, this is just totally like not within our normal realm of doing things. Why are you doing it this way? And so to do as much as possible to just let the other person know and go forward from there with them knowing what you are going to be doing in the future. And that is all that I have to say for today. If you do want any more resources, I do have also my own personal stuff online, and you're welcome to reach out to me individually if you've got any questions. My website is I'm still connected to the one agency and all of that, but if you're wanting something specifically just through my channels, I'm also available through ospreyguide.com. And and then of course, the one agency is amazing. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for participating and listening. And I'm going to stop the recording here, and we'll go into the questions. All right, take care.